Hello, everyone. Welcome to Soul Circle here on Monday, April 18th, 2022, as we are right in the middle of this amazing April energy. We had the great privilege of celebrating the Urban Shaman Music Fest this Saturday, April 16th, at the Isle of Valhalla with our dear friends. So many great people, musicians, healers out there in full effect, celebrating this a wonderful transition time. So I just want to take a moment as we're all settling in here on this beautiful day, this beautiful Monday. Yeah, absolutely magical Monday of Soul Circle, here to celebrate our rest in between all of these big, intense things that are going on astrologically and in our world and galaxy. So we're just enjoying this moment of rest on this beautiful Monday. So we're going to sweep away with our beautiful feather fan. Sweep away the stress. Sweep away the anxiety as we enter this sacred space together tonight. With our bellow. Excellent. So I know a lot of wonderful friends were out there this past weekend at the Urban Shaman Music Fest. So many incredibly talented people. What an amazing experience to truly have integrated the music with the healing activations. As we know, the magical Michelle Orwick was in full effect before she left yesterday for her trip to Egypt. And she did so many amazing activations. Definitely my favorite part was the fact that we did a burn ritual all day. She really guided us through what we needed to let go and what we're activating right now. And that's right on spot for where we are astrologically on a really grand scale. And I know that April is this moment of, this Ostara and Beltane energy as we're coming in on April 30th to the Beltane Solar Eclipse, where Michelle will be doing activation and connection and meditation in Ashun, Egypt, in her amazing escapades for her spiritual journey. It's going to be her 50th birthday on the 24th, where she'll be in the Isis temple. And on the 30th, she will also be connecting to us here in the Magic Moon Circles. And if you're not part of that, reach out to Marissa or myself, and we will get you connected to that so that we can tap into the energy that Michelle is holding for us in Egypt. There'll also be a group in the Holy Land sending out the Magdalene codes, and of course in Glastonbury, England, and at Avalon, beautiful space there, France, all over the world. We will be the Florida connection. I'm sure there's many more all over the planet, really holding this grid together. I think it magically works out where we all end up being on these beautiful points of a grid. So definitely connect with me on that day, as I get to be the voice holding us together on that beautiful day during our magical moon circles, connecting to beautiful magical Michelle in her voyage to Egypt and all the beautiful groups around the world. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about power shifts right now on a grand scale. As we are in this moment on this beautiful Monday of it's a restful moment, but it's also a restful moment of creativity. It's such an amazing time to be inspired of what we want to change. And I think we are no longer waiting for other people to be the change in the world. We are realizing that we are the change in the world. Be the change you wish to see in the world. We are it. And as wonderful things are happening in our sky, it really reminds us, like Pluto. So we have the Pluto energy in Capricorn. until 2022. And we're really in that moment of how we're realizing these power shifts, these great governmental collapses, but all of the power, top-down sources in our life, all of these constructs of power and what they mean in our lives, including our own personal sovereignty and our own personal power. And that doesn't need to be an aggressive power, an angry power, an authoritative dictatorship power. It does mean that we get to be responsible, held accountable for our own power while holding others accountable for their power lovingly, collaboratively, and in a beautiful space for that. So really embrace your creative power during this time. So it's also right in the in-between. This is the center year on 2022. It's really looking at this entering the golden age of Aquarius. We're at that 2012 beginning time to the 2032. So we're at this really peak year. And I think with this, this next eclipse season coming in, that we're going to be starting on April 30th, that Saturday afternoon, I believe at 4 p.m. Right here in actually in Magic Moon Circles. So connect with Marissa about that. Or I will get you connected with Marissa about that because Michelle will be in Egypt for that. But that eclipse season is really, I think, intense. And I hate to keep saying that we are going through such an intense time, but we know we are. And if we let it be a celebration of what we want to change, then we really can make it what we want it to be. I pulled a few cards tonight too to get us focused on what that means. And I want to share those with you right now. I pulled in tarot, I pulled the Wheel of Fortune, and that is about the cycles that we go through. And we have mini cycles, we have monthly cycles, weekly cycles, daily cycles, and of course we have huge universal galaxy cycles. And I think that sometimes when we think that things are going wrong or bad or really challenging us, we can get really exhausted. So it's important to rest and really face that and go, oh, what am I feeling? And not ignore it. But the most glorious gift of that is that you realize things are always changing. So even the worst moments are becoming the best moments. Everything has a silver lining. It's true. Definitely indulge in knowing what you're going through so you can get the lessons and you don't have to keep repeating the same cycles of lessons over and over and over again in this lifetime or however many other lifetimes we have to learn. But how exciting that when you do look at the shadow, like Pluto often makes us do, like Pluto's doing in Capricorn right now, which is the shadow side of power. When you look at the shadow, you can really look at it, have gratitude for it, and realize that it's that moment before you start noticing those positive changes and the way that the blessings are being delivered into your world. So definitely know that as things are constantly moving and changing, that the most important things are changing, like our limitations and our blocked beliefs. And it's time to get really creative and proactive about our power, which can be a loving, collaborative power, working together to create the world we want. An important factor in this, I pulled a goddess card. I pulled Ishtar. And Ishtar was really giving us notice about our boundaries. And I think that's important because as we're growing, boundaries are important and they can be done really lovingly. And I do notice when people are getting brave enough to teach others how to treat them and lovingly establishing consent and boundaries, that there's so much more growth of safety and people get to learn to collaborate together. And I'm not saying don't ever forgive people, but I'm not also saying you don't have to have everyone in your space all the time. Sometimes it's very important to love yourself enough to have boundaries of what is acceptable for you and what makes you feel safe and what you have the time and energy for, and to be able to lovingly communicate that to really stay in your power. I know that we all, expect a lot of ourselves and expect a lot of each other. And we can more lovingly navigate those waters with clear boundaries and know what course we're taking once in a while. Always great to go with the flow, but having a course set in that flow does help people know where they're allowed to flow lovingly and safely. So don't be afraid of establishing clear boundaries. And if you want to talk about more what that means, we can always talk about that because I think one of the best ways to say it is practicing saying yes to things like abundance and joy and things you want to do, and not talking yourself out of what you really do want to do with your time and energy and space and resources, and also saying lovingly in the same joy no, like, oh, yep, this is what I can do. This is what I want to do right now. No, I can't do that very clearly. I have this amount of time. So, not overextending our promises too. So, we don't end up feeling that guilty, shamey thing about letting people down either. So, then you can create healthier relationships and have a healthier relationship with yourself because you know that you're really keeping your word and honoring your amount of time, space, and energy that you have to create your reality with. And the last card I pulled is an Ascended Masters card that I got from the amazing Sai Sugita Jackson with Tea and Tarot Emporium and Events, who we collaboratively through the Urban Shaman Music Fest with this weekend. Write with thought. And I thought that was so cool because it's Egypt and that's where the beautiful, magical Michelle is right now. And it's so cool to be connected with her from Florida because we're all timeless and spaceless, but she's in Egypt right now, which is really cool. And it's calling us to write. I personally am being really called to writing right now. And I am a performer without a doubt. I am a musician, an actor, a vocalist. I also, in my shamanism and my shaman practices, you're performing ritual, you're performing ceremony. So it's a lot about energy being voiced through you. I've also served as a voice of ceremonies a lot in different traditions. So I quite actively love and thrive in the energy of performing, which also makes my balance, as we find our balances, that I often completely am in my quiet time at home. I'm a Cancer. My birthday's in July, so then I like nestle up into my alone time, my personal space, and I'm a crab, so I'm all nestling in my little home nest, and that's when I'm not performing. So then I'm forgetting my creative flow of how I'm creating my life. Even if I'm meditating, if I'm not performing and pulling in divine source and channeling and spirit through my performance, I forget to do it. So my gift to you is find the ways and new ways, because this is all about new beginnings, new ways of doing things right now, new ways to bring in that divine connection and power and creativity. So Thoth is saying in this Ascended Masters card to write. So writing is a very subtle performance, if we will. You're bringing and calling in and channeling your energy through the act of writing. This year, I'm going to be writing some books. We're studying some philosophy and divinity, and we're all in the process of writing. Marissa and Michelle, as well as we might know, and others in our collective, other angels, and I'm also being called to write a rock opera about the ritual and spirituality of the shaman experience that we love so much. Really cool thing. We have begun the shamanin program, but we're going to have a second start weekend because we have so much interest and scheduling that is now opening up a second start weekend. So if you're still interested in the Odyssey Within Shamanism program, do reach out to us. It's not too late. And it has already been such a beautiful experience. It is definitely the energy that Michelle and I get to share this year, creating that space for everyone with our tribe. I'm not going to be afraid of using that word because we are like a family. It's more than just random souls. We really do feel like we've had a lot of purpose, soul purpose together here on this planet, in this lifetime and others, and other planets, actually. I just got back from Las Vegas. It was my first trip there. It was for the Grammy Awards. But my dear friends also took me out to Area 51, which was wonderful and exciting to be in that beautiful, vast desert, which is so different from the swampland we have here in Florida. I know the different climates really make for a different energy and connection with the earth, and being in the desert was stunning. But the great exciting part was being in Area 51, singing some music at the front and back gates, and even leaving a letter to the Galactic Federation of Light in the black mailbox. So very excited that uh, there's that element that's also emerging, that we don't feel quite so alone in this existence here on this planet, that our idea of family is expanding to being more galactic. So I'm sure that that'll be coming through all of us together in our cosmic collective. The idea of family being all of the stars. So excellent. So let's get settled in and do some activation of our creative power. For sure, new beginnings, fresh energy, fresh approaches to the way we create, the way we are in our sovereignty and power, the way that we are designing, writing life, the way things are changing, and lovingly letting things change, even if we have to face some traumas to get through to the other side of those cycles, loving every part of it, even the shadow side. And I love talking about that because so often we scurry away and only want to see what we're comfortable with. And it's when we get uncomfortable that we have the most growth, change, and ascension. Like a vast, powerful, moving mountains and boulders when we let ourselves get slightly, safely uncomfortable, like crying, releasing, screaming, yelling in safe places, which is why we have things like the Urban Shaman Music Fest. We're going to have another Urban Shaman Fest, which is going to be more about the medicine classes, like drum classes and sound healing classes and herbalism classes, etc. I'll have my beautiful mesa, my Peruvian medicine bag with me, which helps me transform. This is my medicine bag, so I'm sending energy through here as a vessel, and really have integrated, as we do, all these traditions. But theta healing, studying theta healing under the beautiful, magical Michelle Orwick has really been the new vibe of shamanism that has really actually helped all of the other forms of shamanism that I've studied, all these ancient ways, make a lot of sense and really make them accessible. So it's nice to have all these tools coming together. And once again, not feeling so separate, even though we have this diverse cultural expression. They're really not all that different, but it's exciting to celebrate both the similarities and commonalities and the differences, because that's makes it beautiful. And that's the art of being human, is being a little bit different and being a little bit the same, and celebrating both aspects of that. So as you're facing your shadow, know that it just makes you a little bit different as your way of healing. And you can lean into that and celebrating even your insecurities and loving them into the light or your transformation, and letting them be a gift, a blessing. I always said that my early life, I always fall asleep really easily, which has been good as a rock musician being on tour because I can sleep anywhere. But when I decided to heal that in ceremony, being able to be more alert and awake and present has been a beautiful gift. But that narcolepsy, for lack of a better word, I don't want to claim narcolepsy. And anyway, clear, cancel, delete from any point in my life, even in the past. But that tendency to be able to fall asleep really easy made me miss a lot of theater or ceremony. And so turning to rock and roll was a gift that I probably wouldn't have received, because I would have stayed in theater. But then having that proactive performance space where we get to also, as an audience, constantly be responding, dancing, yelling, communicating, sharing in that sacred space of concert, I think has really been a blessing of what I want to write and create. Learning that from a concert space, but also learning that in a ritual space, and how we can combine those elements to create the new modern forms of ritual that we're all going to be creating together as a collective. I'm so excited. Excellent. So activation today, definitely going to be about creative power. Definitely analyzing what you're ready to change. And don't forget to get ready for the magical moon circles for that Beltane solar eclipse, because that will be a beautiful global connection on Saturday, April 30th, that I definitely don't want you to miss out on. So talk to us as you do. Excellent. So let's take a moment to take a deep breath. And my sacred rattle. I'd like to bring my rattle into our meditation today because it does help bring in our theta brainwave. It does help us break up old realities as they're being shed and helping them clear easily, and giving us that sacred space in sound. I know on the virtual connection it's a little bit off, but I still think the intention of us having rattles and drums and rhythms in our life is something that we get to introduce into our reality, and finding these beautiful rhythms that are in alignment with our heart and our soul and our minds, and really bringing us into that cohesive power. So please enjoy listening to the rattle. I'm going to invite us to do a moment of journey, because I want you all to receive a gift today for what you want to do with the creative power coming in. You know, you can see all the old realities being shed away, and also receiving a gift from your ancestors, from your past life self, from your future self, of what you want to do with the creative power as we co-create this new reality on Earth. So take a deep breath again. Bringing you up into the seventh plane, past all the laws of the universe, all the opinions of the universe. Creatrix of all it is commanded to completely and totally heal all shock and trauma, clear all old realities that are ready to be shed, release all old power structures that were no longer serving the greatest good on this planet and others. We're just going to ask to release all of the trauma cycles from all the lifetimes in every realm, dimension, and language. We're going to deactivate disease, deactivate pain cycles, fully activate youth and vitality and joy, and fully activate our creative power, easily with clarity and grace, receiving our gift for our creative power. We're calling in our knowing, calling in the divine connection that guides us to the highest frequency experiences, aligning us with our highest timeline and greatest good. Calling in all the knowledge, the guidance, calling in the information, the teachers we need, calling in the community to share and grow with, calling in the knowing of what we want to do with the coming days of power change on this planet. We're going to call in clear boundaries to lovingly navigate our waters into our highest and greatest good, calling in our perfect partnerships, our perfect love and romance, our perfect homes, our perfect vehicles with safety, ease, grace, and love, in perfect alignment with our sustainability, perfect alignment with our lifestyles and our advancing lifestyles, in perfect alignment with our financial flow, and allowing our financial flow to expand to support all of our needs and healthy desires, with enough for ourselves, fulfilling all of our debts, and creating enough to share and create beautiful life with for ourselves and others. Bringing in any other messages that need to be received so that we can be operating in our greatest and highest good. Bringing all that centered into our hearts with clear communication to our beautiful supportive brains, aligning all of our chakras, balancing all of our hormones and all of our organs as we become more and more crystalline into our new phase of existence, as we're activating our ascension codes, we're activating our creative power to be the leaders of the new earth, for the highest and greatest good for ourselves and all this and better, all this and more, with safety, ease, grace, and love in the highest frequency. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is done, it is done, it is done. Aho. I hope everyone's feeling refreshed and joyful and having all the support you need for all of the transformations in your life, and having all the communication you need and all of the resources showing up perfectly in perfect timing. If you need any support, even while Michelle is out of town in Egypt, we are available still, myself, and of course, beautiful Marissa and other friends. We have, CJ and Sai. We have the beautiful Kat and Anita in town for the Urban Shaman Music Fest. Do communicate with your community, because we're all here and working together. Please don't miss the April 30th call. If you, do feel called to be part of that, we are here to get you registered for the Magic Moon Circles. It is going to be a really powerful activation, and I can't believe how honored I am to be able to connect with Michelle in Egypt and all of the other amazing groups doing this activation for the Beltane Solar Eclipse on April 30th. So don't miss out on that, and any other support. If you do have any questions about the Odyssey Within Shamanism program, or the Urban Shaman Fest coming in November, or any of our other events and classes and stuff, do ask. But I hope you feel loved and supported and empowered by your truth, your voice, your divine channeling, your creativity in full blast in the highest frequency. I love you all so much. Thank you so much for joining us for tonight's Soul Circle, and share this information with whoever needs it, and definitely make time for yourself to be in sacred space whenever you feel called. It is the time for rest and action. So find your balance and don't be afraid of both looking at your shadow and being incredibly powerful in loving ways. Thank you all so much. I hope you have a beautiful night. Aho.